Hello. We're going to be working on video 17.5. It's categorical data. This is page 511. We're going to go over 512. We're going to go over page 513. And then we're going to work through the guided practice on 514 together. The next unit that we're going to be working on is going to be with integers, and that's going to be module 1 in our textbooks. The essential question for this video is, how can you summarize and describe categorical data? Okay, now I'm going to have you pause the video, and I want you to fill in your notes for the bottom of page 511. Alright, here's page 512. I want you to read through the entire set of notes. There's nothing really to copy down. After we're done with our guided practice, I do want you to go back and I want you to try your turn on your own. Bring it to class so we can go over it. Alright, this is page 513. I want you to read through this part right here on your own, on your notes. Read through step 1 and step 2 for example 2. And then I want you to copy down the notes for the reflect. Pause the video. Alright, when you're done, turn it over. I want you to go back after we're done with the guided practice. I want you to try the your turn, number 4. That's on the back of page 514. Try it on your own. If you go online, you can click on the personal math trainer for help if you would like. Bring it to class. Alright, now we're going to do the guided practice together. Alright, this guided practice is from the Explore activity. So if I get my original page of notes, the first page, this is the Explore activity. So these are the notes I'm going to use to answer this question. Alright, why don't you pause the video, try this on your own, then I'll walk you through it. Alright, so in the Explore activity, this is how you make the chart, okay, that's asking you to do right here, the dot plot of the data. This is how you would do it. This tells you exactly how to do it on the Explore activity. Okay, so there are 4 students that choose reading. So reading, I'm going to put 4 dots. 1, 2, 3, 4. For movies, it says 7 chose movies. So I put 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright. Now for sports, 7 chose sports. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then travel 5. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's how you make the chart. Question 2 says, identify the modes of the data set. Alright, so I'm going back to the Explore activity, and it tells me the mode of categorical data set is a category that occurs most often. So, the category that occurs most often is the same. It's movies and sports. They both occur 7 times. So, the mode, or the modes in this case, would be movies and sports. Okay, now I want you to read this, and I want you to look at examples 1 and 2 in the notes and see if you can fill out 3 and 4. So pause that video, give it a try, and then I'll walk you through it. Alright, so looking back at example, this is the front of the page. Looking back at example 1, it talks about how to take this data and fill it in. Right here shows you how we do percentages. And so because there's a total of 25 people here, the denominator are 25 categories. There's 25, 25, 25. All the denominators are 25, which makes the numerators the number of times, the number of frequency of times that something occurred. Okay? Right here is going to show me how to find the percentage. Okay? I have to get the denominator to be 100. The reason why, percent means percent. It means parts per 100. So if the denominator is 100, then the numerator is going to be our percentage. So I have to multiply the denominator by a number to get 100. So I multiply the numerator by the same amount. So here, multiply 25 by 4, I get 100. Multiply 5 by 4, and I get 20, and so that will give me 20 out of 100, 20 parts per 100, or 20%. All right, so let's look right here. It says the garden club is planning their spring and summer garden. They have 20 plots. That means 20 total data values. That's going to be my denominator. So I'm going to go ahead and put 20 as my denominator for all of these categories. Okay, then it says tomatoes will be in 3 plots. So I put 3 as my numerator. Kale will be in 5 plots, so I put 5 for my numerator. Strawberries will be in 6 plots, so under strawberries I put 6. Zucchinis will be in 2 plots, and melons will be in 4 plots. Now I have to get the denominators to equal 100. So in this case, I multiply this denominator by 5. So I'm going to multiply all these denominators by 5. So let me pause the video, I'm going to add that in, and then you can just write down what I wrote. Alright, so I multiplied each of these denominators by 5, so I multiplied the numerators by 5. I multiplied the denominators by 5 because I need the denominators to equal 100 so that I can find a percentage. So 20 times 5 is 100. So now to find the percentage, or the numerator, I do 3 times 5, which gives me 15 out of 100, 15 parts per 100. That is 15%. This is 25 parts per 100, so that's 25%. 6 times 5, which gives me 30 parts per 100, so that's 30%. 2 times 5, which is 10 parts per 100, which is 10%. And 4 times 5, which is 20 parts per 100, which is 20%. Now I'm going to fill in the histogram right here. And if I turn my page over, because this is part from example 2, I look at example 2, here's my example. So I've got my percentages up here, and then I'm just going to plot them on my histogram right here. So what I need you to do is read through this again, see if you can fill this part out on your own, and then unpause the video and I'll show you how I did. Alright, so tomatoes, I look up here, it's 15%. So 15% is going to be halfway between 10 and 20. I'm going to put the top of my histogram here. I'm going to draw it in just like that. Nice and neat and even. Kale was 25%. So it's between 20 and 30. So I'm going to make my little mark above kale, about right here, halfway between the 2 lines. Nice and neat, easy to read. That's important. It's got to be easy to read. Strawberries, 30%. Well, that's right on this line. So I'm going to make my mark right on this line over strawberries. Nice and neat. Zucchini is 10%. Make my mark at 10%. Nice and neat. And then melons. Melons is 20%. So I'll find 20 here, make it right on the line, connect it, and that's how you do a histogram. It's that easy. Alright, now I want you to think about question 5. Try it on your own. Unpause the video when you're ready to see how I did it. So how can you calculate relative frequencies as percents? Look up here. 3 out of 20, that's a relative frequency. 3 is relative to the 20. Pickle shoes. Alright, 3 out of 20. So if what I do is I just make sure that that denominator ends up being, so what I do is I write my relative frequency as a fraction, and then I have to write an equivalent fraction. This would be the example of the equivalent fraction with a denominator of 100. So I multiply the numerator and the denominator by 5. As long as I multiply by the numerator and the denominator by the same number, I end up with a equivalent fraction. So 15 over 100 is the same as 3 over 20. So once I get my equivalent fraction over 100, I just use the numerator, and that's the percent.
Be patient.
Alright, this is what you write down. Copy this down. Pause the video, and then you are done. Complete the Google Doc.